have fun with the ones where like, teach me something that you know nothing about.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay.
What I typically do, like a couple of my boys, one of them was learning three sectionals. So I taught him a three sectional form that I had to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
He had to create the next 20 moves, and then I would end it.
Nice.
And then the nunchuck form with Sensei Aaron, who's going for his fifth, I taught him the nunchuck form up to one point. He knew how to move it, and then I made him finish it off.
Nice.
That's really cool.
And then I had one Chris Rooster. I taught him tiger hooks. So this kid's 12 years old. Quick story. 12 years old, enters a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
His tiger hooks were made with a 1/4-inch steel. He literally, him and his father took the plasma cutter and made his own, and they were heavy, not wushu.
Right.
All you had to do was sharpen it, and you had blades, and he painted them and everything. So we go to the tournament, and some of the tournaments, as you know, they're mostly Shotokan or karate gentlemen. They don't know anything about it. So he does his form. So I renamed the entire form the Weapon Maker, since he made the weapon. Big deal. It's just a name. I renamed the whole form the Weapon Maker. So when he goes to the judges, check these out. 2 judges went, "Oh my God!" 1 judge didn't look at it. The one that doesn't look at it comes back at the end of his competition and goes, "You should have made him go faster. You know, it's wushu." And I'm like, "Dude, what are you talking about? Look at this. It's steel." Here, you do. You know, I gave him. And he goes, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Show me what you're talking about."
Yeah.
Well, I don't do tiger hooks, but yet you got an opinion on this.
I've never liked that. I've never been a fan of that.
They do it all the time in the karate tournament.
You don't
all
know.
the time.
You don't know that form, or you've never practiced that
That
particular
weapon.
You're
weapon.
judging me.
But you're judging me on it.
Yep.
Here, just swing this around. It's a piece of freaking steel.
Well, it's like my monkey pull. There's Aaron. Like my monkey pull. You know, Kyle, Rita's son, was doing monkey pull, and that thing weighs. And again, same thing. The last judge, the female judge, just went, it's just, you know, he thought it was just a staff. But it's a steel round bar. It's monkey pull.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So he does his form, and she grades him again. This one grades him low. And so we ask her why. She says, "Oh, you should be able." I said, and I went, ding.
Right.
Everyone's over there laughing. So I hand her the pull, and I said, "Show me any one of your staff forms with that pull."
Right.
And she's like, "No." I said, "Yeah, because you can't wheel it. You can't."
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
it's,
funny.
yeah, I just told him that story with tiger hooks. Chris Roosters. See,
So
they all know it.
Let me ask you this, because you've been in the game for a long time, obviously.
Yeah, since about 12 to 15. Yeah, easy.
I always find this like one of your best stories is your mom
Oh, my mom. Yeah, the one I
and-
told you about.
yeah.
So.
and the caballeros
Yeah,
and blah blah blah.
The novellas, the Spanish novellas we used to watch. Spanish novellas.
You know, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that kid's Mexican, and
My mom still watches
it'll pull at his
novellas
heartstrings when
to
you.
the day.
Well, like they said, you know the difference between a Mexican and a Spaniard?
No, what?
We had to swim further. So
And we are going to
Try
keep
that
in.
one.
and we are going to keep that in there.
Bing bing. So my mom and I used to watch the Spanish novellas just to keep my Spanish going.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a gentleman there with a 12-foot pole. So nowadays I know it as a long pole in Wing Chun or just a long pole.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he was taking out all these horsemen and spinning it and doing all kinds of trick. So after I get done watching this, I go downstairs, grab my mom's broom, take the handle off the best I could, or accidentally break it, and I'd be flipping this, you know, but it's only like a staff. It's only 6 feet, if
Yeah,
not
but
shorter.
you're only that short.
And I'm only
too,
that
but
short, so it looks like a
It looks
12-foot
like a
staff.
12 foot.
Close enough.
So my mom comes out, she's watching me, and she goes, "You just did what
Yeah.
yeah." And then every time this gentleman was on the novella, that's, you know, I used to watch that and then watch all the Kung Fu genre movies,
Right.
you know, the Bruce Lee movies, the Batman and Robin.
Saturday Night Kung Fu.
Saturday Night Kung Fu. Oh my God, yeah. Wasn't that the best?
Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Him in his vest.
And then I used to go to Chinatown and grab DVDs
Right.
of martial art movies.
Did you wear the Kung Fu shoes?
Always. Always.
They were so uncomfortable, but we all wanted them.
Mine were
had
comfy.
a
I don't know
pair.
where you bought yours
Dude,
at.
they were like the $9.95.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah, that's just
You go
it.
to
yeah.
Chinatown,
Chinatown,
They
right
weren't
there.
actual
You grab
shoes,
a
they were
pair.
novelties.
Oh, everybody wore them in class.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it was too funny.
And then
then we would get the long sleeve shirts that they would
shirts
have
and then
with
the
buttons.
buttons up, and you try to grow your hair long, and
Yeah.
Paul would just look at you and go, "You know, you're going to go bald soon, right?"
Oh, he was right.
So is he, so it's good. Cjo's about the only one with a full head of hair.
Really? So-
oh my God, yeah. Full head of hair.
Yeah, it's amazing how when you look back in those days, and you see these kids coming up, trying to make a name for themselves and trying to establish themselves.
Yeah.
And you remember your struggle,
Oh, yeah.
and you want to help them out, but sometimes they're like, "No, I can do
No,
this."
sometimes you got to struggle. You got to watch them struggle before it's like learn to tread water. Then I'll hold my hand out to save you.
Dude, it's funny with this kid. I was always just knocking him down. I didn't care. I wanted him to really feel what it was.
No.
How has that changed? I mean, the 25th
No, but-
episode was the same thing, but
Yeah, but
I love it.
Just for myself, being in, like I said, in the martial arts for as long as I have, and you know my rep as well as anybody else. Watching you do what you do was very impressive. There's not too many instructors or people out there that I can look at. There's a couple of my guys that just got their first degree black belt. When they do their weapon forms, it outdoes me.
Yeah, ooh,
It literally outdoes me. And then, like I said, watching you is basically watching him back when he was younger. So everything that you do, he's already done, if not the same or
And
better.
he hates that.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
with,
but too
with the
bad.
wisdom that he earned during that time.
Oh,
'cause
yes.
that's
Yeah.
what elevates it.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the connections that you make and everything else, But that's just it. I mean, through my martial art careers, I met just a tremendous amount of people, Like I said.
Dude, and you remember all their names? That's just
No, actually, I
amazing.
don't. I really don't. My ex-partner, Michael, who helped me run my dojo at one time, remembered all the parents' names, first and last, all their kids, and their birthdays. And at Christmas, hand wrote every Christmas card to everybody and wrote something different in every. It blew me away.
Wow.
And they say if you repeat the name enough, and so far in my dreams, 99. I'm like,
I'm concerned that you're dreaming about me.
no, just your name, just your name.
Okay, just my
That's
name.
Okay, you're
I
kind
feel
of.
violated.
Yeah, okay, we're moving now.
So moving on to our next guest.
I'd like to invite Rico.
If you had to do anything different back then when we were young, what are the changes?
You mean as far as what? Martial arts, my life in general?
Anything.
I think the martial arts is what I
In the martial arts, I would have tried to strive to stay more with the Taekwondo than I did.
really.
Yeah, because their kicks are just phenomenal.
Yeah,
good-
but Paul, come on.
Paul used to kick like
Dude.
crazy, but then when the school broke up and everybody went their separate ways, it was really hard for me to find a school that really clicked with me. I did a couple Kempo schools, but
Right.
they were so easy.
You brought up something that I think happens a lot when family members or really good friends open up a school
Yeah,
and then there's a breakup.
yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened with the Presses brothers. It
Yeah.
happened with the Cañetes.
The Cañetes and
I mean,
yeah,
all
all those guys.
Yeah,
that was a
and,
fun fallout.
and that's one of the reasons why Danny refuses to have ranking and refuses to have titles, and because of the politics and all those,
But what's the politics behind the belts for you guys?
Well, to me,
Yeah, please.
on a personal level,
Yeah.
I think the belt is too much of a wedge between the instructor and the student.
In what way?
In the sense that that student knows that you're my boss or you're my master, you're the guy, this is that. And
Ooh.
I've never liked the idea that, because I've had some instructors
Yeah.
who were bad. I mean, they would milk me for money, if you want to belt up, $20 for this, $20 for the test, $20 for the blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God, I've been down that road and thousands
Yeah,
of dollars.
right? And you know what I'm
Thousands of
saying, right?
dollars,
I
yeah.
mean, and it sucked.
It does.
You lose respect, and I would leave that school.
Because then it's
Right?
it's about getting the
Because
belt versus
because if
advancing.
I got the belt from that instructor, I'm owing to him.
Okay, so for me, it was it's not getting the belt; it's getting the knowledge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the belt was just a way for me to see
To gauge
to
you.
gauge my
Right.
honestly to gauge myself. Like I said, back in the day when we talked about tournaments, everybody wore uniforms and
Right.
and you were
well,
you were-
the whole pageantry was there.
Oh, the whole
Back in our
pageantry
days.
was, and that
Yeah.
And that's what made me go, oh my God, he's a first degree. What does it take to get to that? And then you see a fourth degree and you go, my God, they were unheard of in those days.
But see, and that's my point, that
That changed.
that title, that
Now
belt,
it's just belts.
because now even the black belt has got something over everybody else. I mean, I've seen students leave because of a black belt.
Yeah,
And the
but
way
I
they
don't
conducted
see
themselves.
that's different.
That's bad teaching.
Yeah, that's bad teaching. But see, that's not in here. Honestly, I could honestly say that for myself.
Yeah,
and
but
my
like I
school.
said, I've
but
been
other
there.
schools
Yeah.
absolutely
You-
agree,
yeah,
100%.
right? You know what I'm talking about.
They hold you because of that belt.
Yeah, and
You
that's
know.
why we have never done that, because we see that does get in the way. That's our feeling.
I like that.
You know,
That's a good explanation why.
Yeah, because it really does. It gets in the way of me wanting to learn what I want to learn, and the other guy teaching what he wants to teach.
See, I never see with some of the stuff that I learned from Lazadas and other instructors. They would go, no, you have to get to here before you can have that. No, you got to get way up here before.
And
you
that's
can
the
get
stuff back in our
And
day.
that's
That
back
was
in our day.
Remember,
There
back
was
in
a
our
standard
day.
of
Yeah, there
knowledge
was-
that
yeah.
had to be achieved.
Back in our
not-
day, there were 6, 7 belts maybe.
Right.
Depending on the school, right?
Absolutely.
Nowadays, 30, 40, 50 belts. Come on, with
Yeah.
a pip.
Yeah, white belt with 3 stripes, yellow belt, and you're like, oh my God, when is this? No,
Yeah.
I just go, I go solid belts. I don't tip, I don't stripe, I don't do any of that. And at a certain level, depending on your skill level, the door is wide open for you to learn whatever you want. I will literally put a high level form that I have on my books that are not in my curriculum but in my books.
Right.
Okay.
That you could, if you want to learn that one. I mean, they left 20 out of all the curriculum I have up there, all the way to 10th degree, from black belt to 10th dan. They literally left over 40 forms on the table that they didn't, that I could imply in that. But why?
Why?
Every level has 2 or 3 forms, and then they left that many on the table. So when someone, say for your, I'm going to use you again for an example. You come in and you go, well, I don't want to learn the basics, white, yellow, orange. I want something that's going to challenge my hands. So I would teach you like a 5th, 6th degree black belt form that's really creative, that shows all the great movements that the lower levels don't have, but you'll excel faster.
On those other,
On the lower levels.
When you backtrack.
Yeah,
to it,
because you back, like I said, with the Kochi Kalikar and the Shintai Wushu that Sijo Lazada did when I did the Kempo system, I got 3rd, 4th degree
Right
in less
away,
than 2 years.
Who's your Kempo instructor?
Oh, that was under Scott Woods, and then Master Matera back in the day, and then it was that's under Fred Villari, Villari system, and Fred Villari broke up with Master Matera, and then I used to train, and it was great, but it got to the point where when they became the franchise.
Well, and again, that goes
screwed it all
alongside
up.
of what I've been talking
Yeah, they
about
screwed
with
it all
the
up.
titling. That
Yeah.
oh no, I have to be the head guy.
Oh, yeah.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
but we it's like
You must
we
call
come up
you must
together,
call me
but,
the
right.
master. You
Yeah.
must say master so and so, master so and so.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I only got one, and I
and
don't have
again,
room for another.
that's exactly me and Danny's point, is that stuff does get in the way, no matter what.
I see your point. I
know,
do see your point.
No matter about the well intentions that you had
No.
in the beginning, it somehow, some way,
Yeah, 'cause
down the road.
if there isn't a stopgap at the beginning, set up at the beginning for that to not be an issue later on, then it festers however it's going to fester for each individual.
And it's like you said, you don't have a belt system, so you started off knowing that there's no belt system, but it's a
so you weren't
just
working
growing
for it.
and growing
Yeah.
and growing.
Well,
and,
the thing that we have to kind of give us a gauge of where we're at, we refer to as the levels of understanding.
oh, okay.
And so level 1 is gross motion. Can you even do the movements?
Right.
However sloppy can you do them? All right, that's recognizable as something we know. Then level 2, the details. Do you understand the mechanics behind it? Do you understand what it's used for, how it could be
That
used?
gives me good insight. Yeah.
And that's level 2. Level 3 then is variation. Can you take what you know from the first 2 levels and change something and make it work?
Oh, okay.
Essentially
Right.
starting the process again
Right.
back to level 1. You add a difference. Now it's a gross motion again, then details of that. Then level 4 is, can you teach this? Can you take the information that you have from those first 3 levels and you can pass them on to somebody else? And as you do so, you start learning more, and that's where you kind of start peering into the 5th level, which is your own form.
Your own way of moving.
Exactly.
Which is where you've been
You're
all
free
along.
for yes,
Right.
yeah.
Your
But
hybrid.
isn't that much more like, I'll
be honest, right on camera. If I could, I'd take all the belt system off, and I would take half of my form's gone.
You know, it's funny. We
I
had
would just teach like you
we
guys.
had Mike Cardenas here on our show, and he was like, "Yeah, the only reason why Art Gonzalez, Grandmaster Art Gonzalez, started having to use belts because somebody said, "Oh, what are the ranks of your students? We don't know."
We don't know who to pair them up
So
with.
he took a
That's one of the biggest problems.
Yeah.
yeah, he
when
took
you
a
go-
big bag of belts and said, "Oh, you look like a blue belt. Oh, you look," like, and he was just tossing
That's
them out.
cool. I should do that.
Here, oh, this looks good on you. Oh, this one should fit you. I'm like, wow, genius. And that was just their way of having to gauge.
Well, because he knew his students, he knew how
Yeah.
well they could or couldn't do, so he gave them an approximation so they can play with other people.
But that's just it. When you go to certain schools, certain tournaments, certain seminars,
Yeah,
and you're training with somebody else, and the guy goes, "Oh, but and he's wearing his uniform because that's what they like to do, and they wear their belts, and he's got a black or an orange or whatever." And he goes, "Well, what level are you?" And you go, "Well, we don't traditionally have belts, but I've been studying for over 8 years." That should basically click in your head
Yeah.
that he has enough time on the table. So don't disrespect him and go, "Oh, well, you don't have a belt." Okay, don't know.
but that happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
When I was in the Philippines, I went there, and in the town that I'm from, there was a gym in Taguig, Susan. I don't know if you've ever been.
No, Rita's Filipino. So
Oh,
she-
okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, tell her Rizal, Taguig Rizal. So, anyways, in our town, there was a school there. It was a kind of a gymnasium type of thing, but they also taught martial arts. And I had already been to games, and I said, "Hey, do you mind if I just work out here? I'm going to be here for a little while, and I'd like a place to train." So they saw me doing stuff, and he goes, "Hey, we have a tournament coming up on Saturday." I said, "Oh, well, how do I get into that?" He goes, "I don't have a belt, I don't have a recognized belt to you guys." He goes,
right.
"We'll give you a white belt, you'll be fine." Okay, sure. So, sure enough, I got a white belt, and I'm going into the tournament. And obviously I'm not a white belt, so and the guy who's holding the event, he's one of the judges. All right.
Ah,
So I go up against a guy who's supposedly also a white belt, and he throws a kick, and I drop my arm down to block it, and I punch the guy in the chest. Well, his instructor, or the guy who's putting on the show, is a ref, and he's on the side of me where he couldn't see me block and throw my punch. And I blocked the kick is what was coming,
Right.
and he gave the guy the point, but he didn't see me plow him in the chest. And right then and there, I said, "Oh." And I turned to my instructor at that time, or the teacher, and I said, "Hey, what's going on here?" He goes, "Yeah, they don't like you, and
Yeah, it's politics.
yeah." So
It's
then I
again,
said, "Okay." So
yeah,
I
it
get up
falls back
again,
to that bullshit.
and this time when I saw the guy give me the kick, I said, "Wham!"
Yeah,
Hit his leg as hard as I could, and I got disqualified.
yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
cool.
Like I told you, in tournaments, it was either in tournaments if you were losing, if the Lazadas, if you were fighting,
Yeah.
and the guy has 2 points and you got 1 and you're not doing good, they'd be behind the other guy going like this,
Yeah.
which means come hell or high water, just hit him as hard as you can. You'll get disqualified, but actually you won the
You
fight.
won the
'cause
fight.
he's a-
Yeah, I mean that's
a
what I ended
little
up having
rude,
to
but
do.
yeah,
And then later on, the instructor told me, he goes, "Yeah, you weren't going to win there. The thing is,
they just needed a body.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that he let me. He goes, your stance was too good to be white." I said, "Oh." So to them, I was also cheating, right? I mean,
Well,
and I
it's not your
understood.
fault. You went in. The guy gave you a white belt.
Yeah.
You could have said, what's a little higher than a white?
Well, he
Yeah.
couldn't officially give me
No, he
anything.
can't.
Without,
He can't.
yeah,
without.
I just started in your school. I'm a white belt.
That's true. Some schools you have to. This is what I don't get. I'm sorry. Speaking of white belts, I know a couple of instructors that I'm not going to mention. You got to earn your white belt
I've heard that.
after a couple of months of being in the school.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you think walking in the door and handing you your first month worth of payments
Yeah.
is white belt doable?
You have to go without a belt.
You got to go without a belt. You got to earn your white belt. Earn it.
I just paid you money
I just
for
paid
it.
you money for it.
Well, and you remember the days of McDojos, right?
Oh, I can tell you stories.
149. You
Oh.
got a gi, the belt, and everything, and you're on your way to being a black belt in a
Yeah,
few
go
months.
jog 3 miles to McDonald's, go grab me some fries and bring them back.
Yeah.
Go in the closet, there's 3 flies. Make sure you kill all 3 and it's dark. What kind of a crap is that?
Yeah.
I need you to go over there and beat the crap out of that tree. Well, the tree's always going to win, so what's my point of hitting it? You know that? Oh yeah, McDojos. Oh man.
Weren't those funny?
Oh.
And the instructor, you would swear, had no clue.
Yeah.
Every time I go in there, I'm like, no, I'm not going to this one. I mean, you could tell just by the way they were talking to me.
I went into one, ended up taking over the school and the students. So the instructor went, okay, I need him out and I need you in.
Yeah.
And then you have to give him your credentials. That's just it. The guy gave me a dojo.
Right.
Literally handed me the key to his school, but I had to have some kind of a background because he wanted to make sure. And when he found out my lineage with the
Hey,
Lozadas,
let me say something real quick.
Sure.
For you folks who are listening in, you're hearing somebody yelling in the background. We were actually at Johnny's school today,
Oh, just give me a shout out
doing an
real quick,
interview, and what you're hearing is the students and
Zoom classes.
Zoom classes and whatnot.
We'll speak
So,
up a little louder.
Yeah. So, just wanted you guys to know.
This up.
Come a little
Because
closer.
the mics that we have are so strong. They
Tommy,
pick
shut
up.
the hell up.
Just in case you were wondering.
I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Where's the school located?
Oh, yes,
by the
let's
way?
get
Oh, my
Shout out
school's
to where, yeah.
located in San Carlos, 151 Old County.